Good morning, everybody. So it's a little bit after 6. I'm sitting here editing a video and just watching a sunrise. What more could you ask for? Okay, it's a little after 7, and I ended up going back to sleep for about an hour. So now I'm continuing to edit the video. Okay, so it's like 8:30 now, and I finally got the video edited, and it's about to be uploading. And I've got a lot of work to do, and I'm pretty tired, so it's gonna be a fun one. Okay, well, I just did a really dumb thing. So I just got out of the tent, and I started to pull the kayak out to the water. Forgot it was attached to my tent, and basically just pulled the entire end off of this tent. So that is just really awesome. And the really fun part is that I sent my other tent home with my parents yesterday. So this is my only tent. So I'm either going to have to patch this or get another tent delivered. So, woohoo! Well, luckily I live very close to here, so my dad's going to come up with the tent that I left yesterday with him, and he's going to come to New Haven, which is just right down there. So I'm going to go ahead and start packing up everything and then get down to the boat ramp. I can't believe I did that. Man, so it's like 10:30, so it's a really late one. I just had a hard time getting moving this morning. And yeah, but everything's finally done. The video's edited and uploaded, and I'm finally packed up and about to head off on down the river. Now I'm only going to New Haven, where I'm going to wait for my dad to show up, and he has my other tent that doesn't have a massive hole ripped in it. So yeah, so I'm going to just head down there and wait. It shouldn't be too long. And the river just continues to drop. It is going way down, so it's kind of interesting to see. All right, I'm back on the water, and again, there's almost no wind. So, very hot. But I'm nearly to the New Haven boat ramp. So, New Haven holds a very special place called Astral Glass. It's kind of a art studio, kind of where they blow glass and make glass sculptures, that sort of thing. And in that shop, there is a wall that you can sign. And in there you get a purple hat that you get for completing paddling down the entire Missouri River. So I am very excited to receive one, because it's a very small amount of people that have these purple hats, and I'm very excited to be joining the club, because I feel like this hat is one of the most earned items I'm ever going to receive. I've spent far more effort on getting this hat than I have on almost anything else in my life. Okay, so I landed here at the boat ramp, and since I gotta wait here for a little bit, I think I'm gonna pull the boat up, even though it's a lot of work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so a lot's kind of happened in the past few minutes. So I got to the boat ramp, and I met my dad there, and he has the tent that doesn't have the entire side ripped out of it. So that's pretty awesome. And he stayed with the boat and let me go up to Casey's, where I grabbed some cold drinks, which I'm very excited about. And now I'm waiting here at Astral Glass, and should meet with them here soon. And I'm looking forward to that. So usually people will blow a couple glass balls, kind of like these here in the window. It's kind of tradition for most of the paddlers to blow two of them, and then one they keep, and another one they'll send to their house. But unfortunately, the ovens to melt the glass are down this week. So I'll have to come back at some point and do that. Okay, so I'm in the hot room, I think is what he called it. And this here is the wall that all of the other paddlers have signed over the years. So this is really cool. Alright, so this is Lance with Astral Glass, and I really appreciate the honor of receiving a hat, and it's a very cool place he has here. So I was able to sign the wall there behind him, and I feel very honored to be able to wear a purple hat.
Welcome to the club, brother.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm back on the water. I finally got launched. I got the sunshade up because it's very hot, but I have this very cool hat. So it says Missouri River Paddlers, trust your boat. So I'm very proud to be wearing this purple hat. So I'm going to continue down the river. I've got some, I think it's 83 miles left. So hopefully I'll knock out a big chunk of that today. It is a little after noon already, so not gonna get too far today, but every little bit counts. So I've got the fan here blowing air right on my face because it is really hot out. So I really enjoyed the cold weather that I got around Kansas City, but it's gone now, and it is in the upper 90s with no wind at all. So very, very warm, but I will survive. It just makes it a little bit more of a grind for these last couple days. Okay, so it's about 1 o'clock. It's still really hot, and I'm just now passing mile marker 79. So they're really starting to count down fast now that they're in the double digits. So kind of crazy. And yeah, just continuing down the river, just trying to make decent time while not overheating is kind of the goal. Looks like we got some rock work going on up here. There's a pretty good size towboat moving a barge full of rock right now. And I believe that's what the motor sound is. So that's really interesting. This is a very freshly redone wing dam, and the first about half of it is about 4 feet out of the water, and the second half is just barely out of the water. So maybe that's the way they're supposed to be, which is really interesting because I see them all the time that are under the water. So maybe that's by design. So there's a lot going on in this section. I got a big party going on this sandbar. There's like, what, maybe 10 boats pulled up on there, and on the other side, they're fixing the shoreline with an excavator. So this time they're actually fixing the shoreline. So the excavator barge has those big upright spikes, and they drop them down to hold it in place. I was told in a comment they're called spuds, and that's holding that barge in place, but the rock barge is being held by the towboat, which is slowly powering up into the current to keep the barge in the right place. And they just scoop up all the rock and keep dumping it. And it doesn't look like it from here, but that is a big excavator. And holding the rock barge in place is the Bernice C. It's running at a fairly good clip to keep that barge in one place in the current. And it is a Sunday afternoon, so there are a lot of boats out on the water. There's a nice little bluff, and the trees are just trying to change into fall colors, but not quite yet. But it is still pretty early. It's only mid-September. So this is another shore that has been covered in concrete. So I guess it might be a more common thing down here on this lower Missouri River that they at one point poured concrete on a lot of the banks to keep the river from eating them. It's pretty neat. I mean, the concrete's not doing so hot anymore, but all concrete cracks eventually. And this stuff's been exposed to a lot of floods. So every once in a while there is almost a breeze and it feels amazing, but it's not very common, unfortunately. I never thought I'd want wind, but I would absolutely love some right now. I'd take a really nasty headwind right about now, because for the past week, I mean, just no air movement. Those trees, none of the leaves are moving. It's just hot and still. And right now I'm passing mile marker 73.8. Okay, so in the distance is the town of Washington, where I'm meeting an old friend, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So yeah, it's been a very hot afternoon. That is for sure. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired and crabby today. I don't really see a good reason, but I had a pretty terrible night's sleep last night. So I'm exhausted, tired, crabby, and hot. So, woo! Makes for a fun day. But I'm doing good, and we're making miles downriver, so nearly there. Though I definitely got to say, today I'm definitely looking forward to finishing the trip. So it looks like Tuesday is going to be the day I get to the confluence. So I'm looking forward to that. So as I've said before, I know I'm going to terribly miss going down the river like this and this whole trip entirely when it's over. But honestly, right now, all I can think about is air conditioning and showers. That they sound so nice. So I am far too stubborn to even consider quitting, especially when I've gone this far. It's never once crossed my mind. But that doesn't mean that I'm not looking forward to being done with this trip. It's been a very long trip, the longest kind of endeavor of any kind that I've ever done. So I think I'm ready for it to be over. It's been a really great trip, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been amazing. I've been living my dream out for 3.5 months, and it's been great. So one thing that I'm gonna have to learn to adjust is just my sense of time, because on this trip, I mean, I'm so used to moving probably 4 to 5 miles an hour on average for this trip, and everything just takes forever when you're traveling down the river. So the town of Washington is about 2 miles away, which in a car is like a minute, just a minute or two, but for me it's probably another half hour. So it's definitely going to be a adjustment period, trying to get back to the normal time. So this is the kind of the worst possible camera to try to film airplanes, but there's 2 biplanes in formation flying by, so that's pretty cool. So I can see them quite clearly, but in this camera they're just little black dots. And the town of Washington is getting a little bit bigger. So my friend is supposed to be bringing a burger and fries, which I'm very excited about. So I haven't really had much of a lunch, so looking forward to it. It's currently right around almost 3 o'clock, so I'm just running a little bit late. I told him 3, and I'm maybe a mile away, and I've got 9 minutes to do a mile, so it's gonna be a few minutes late. So here's a closer look at Washington, Missouri. And the boat ramp is right down here. So there's the boat ramp, and very excitingly, there's a dock. Well, thank you so much. I got a burger and some cold drinks, and I really appreciate it. It's really good seeing you again.
Yeah, it's good seeing you.
So, thank you so much.
See you in a couple weeks.
All right, I'm back on the water, and I still have about half a burger left. It's kind of hard to eat when it's this hot, so I'm gonna save it till I'm a little bit hungrier. And yeah, and I got some cold water, which I need to grab some and start drinking. So yeah, really appreciate it. It was really good to catch up with them, and I'm gonna keep going. So I realized something crazy. That is tomorrow night. I'm gonna be picked up by some family friends and get a shower and get my clothes washed before the end. That way I smell a little bit better, you know, in the vehicle ride home. So, but in doing that, I realized that tonight is going to be my last night of camping on the entire trip, which is very sad and at the same time extremely exciting. I can't believe I ripped my tent like right at the end of this trip. Like I just that's really annoying, but that's okay. I have another tent now, so it all worked out. So I probably would have wanted to use the other one anyways. So it's currently about 4 o'clock, and I'm about to go under the Washington Bridge here, and I'm just gonna keep going until I find a nice sandbar. I can't really stop too early because it's gonna be so hot that there's no point. It's gonna take hours for it to cool off tonight before I can probably get to sleep. So, yay! Just get to enjoy some heat before the end. It wouldn't be an adventure if it was, you know, comfortable and great weather all the way to the end. Yeah, here's the Washington Bridge. Definitely a newer design with these massive steel beams. And it's still pretty hot with basically no air movement. So it looks like they got another sand loading facility here. So there's a dredge with a barge full of sand, it looks like, and a towboat with an empty barge over there. And they've got a whole loading facility here. There's a grapple excavator and a big set of conveyor belts that lead off to, you know, the sand quarry or whatever's there. So pretty interesting. Definitely one of the smallest dredges I've seen on the river. So it's on a much smaller scale, but pretty much a typical barge. It's got two big cables running out the front holding it in place with attached to winches. And it has a big dredging arm that sucks up sand on the bottom and dumps it into the barge here. So as you can see, there's sand up above the top of this. It is completely loaded full of sand. So it is a Sunday, so everything's kind of shut down. The Crystal City barge and the Alea is the towboat on the other side of it. So it looks like out the back end of this is actually where they suck up the sand out of that pipe, which is pretty cool. They're not normally up out of the water. So I'm pretty curious. It's pretty cool to get close enough to one when it's shut down. So it looks like it's just a giant pump. So that's what the end of this dredge looks like. It's just a big, basically pipe with a bell on the end. They stick it down on the bottom and start pumping water and sand up. And that big black arm there sticking out the side is where the water and sand go, and it just dumps into a barge, and all the water runs out and the sand stays in the barge. That's really cool to see one, you know, lifted up out of the water. First time I've seen that. And it's actually the Atlas. Apparently I can't read. So pretty cool. So in other news, it's about 4:30. It's starting to cool off a little bit, which is awesome. I'm enjoying that. And other than that, I finished the rest of that burger, and I feel pretty terrible for eating food while it's this hot. And I'm just slowly making my way down the river, so not much to it. So it kind of amazes me how fast the river goes from, you know, pretty busy, lots of boats. I passed probably 30, 40 boats there around Washington big party cove. They were working on the shores. There was barges and everything, and you know, just like an hour later, and I'm in the middle of nowhere again. Don't see any sign of anything other than there's some stacks. Other than the Labradee stacks are in front of me, so it's a coal plant, and right along the river. And the only reason I know that those are the Labradee stacks is because I'm, live in the area. Well, there's a buoy that's must have something caught on it. It's making a pretty good wave. So often trees will get caught on them. And down below is a closer look at the Labradee stacks. And a very cool reflection. So I don't know if I've said it on camera, but that amazing cloud reflecting in the water, that's all the camera. I can't hardly see that. The water's just kind of white in front of me. But on camera, these reflections look amazing. So that's one of the few things that this camera does better than the human eye with. Well, that's a big coal plant. I've seen quite a few on this trip, but that one's still a pretty good size one. So I'm just now passing mile marker 58.4 there below the green sign there, and coming up is the water intake and discharge for the coal plant. So there's the water plant. There seems to be some kind of barge pulled up ahead of it with rock on it for some reason. I don't really know what that's about. There's a red sign there at the end that says no tie off, so they don't want any other barges to attach to it. But yeah, there's some massive pumps in there pumping water up to the coal plant, and they've got a water discharge there, a pretty small one. So I guess if I was really desperate, I could go take a shower over there, but I think I'm gonna pass. Alright, so it's like 6:30. The sun is starting to set over there. There are some massive storms over there. Luckily, they're all east of me. And I think I'm going to find a sandbar. I think there's one right here behind this wing dam that I'm going to stay at tonight. So I can't believe this is going to be the last sandbar of the trip. It's just hard to even comprehend. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but there are two bald eagles sitting over there on that wing dam. So that's pretty cool. Well, I just turned around and there's all kind of smoke coming out of the plant, but they might just be unloading coal and that's just coal dust. I don't really know. Alright, I think this is going to be possibly the last camp of the trip. Wow. I've been sitting here for quite a while. Not because I'm like all choked up because this is the last campsite of the trip. Mostly because I'm just really tired. So I'm gonna get to work. Well, I gotta say, it seems pretty fitting to use this tent on the very last night of camping on the trip. So pretty neat. It is supposed to rain tonight, so it seems pretty fitting. And interestingly enough, while there's a barge that is very slowly making its way upriver, there's a smog alert out today for St. Louis. So apparently there's so much pollution in the air and ozone from car exhaust that they put out warnings, which is not something I've ever seen because I don't ever go to St. Louis, to be honest. So, pretty interesting. So it is kind of funny using this tent. I haven't used it in several weeks just because the other one has more room inside the actual tent and it's got a lot more airflow. But since I decided to do some renovations this morning and, remove a wall, can't use it at the moment. So back to the old Hilleberg. And this tent has held up amazingly. I really enjoyed using it. The only problem I've had is like twice now this zipper has a bad spot in it, and it will pop open, you know, every once in a while. And you know, I did live out of it for almost probably darn near 2.5 to 3 months, because I used this all for the first entire half of the trip. I used this tent every single day, and the second half of the trip I definitely used it probably about half the time, every time it stormed. It wasn't until this last kind of section that I started using the other one almost full time, because it stopped storming and I've had really good weather, other than the fact that there's no wind. It's just so funny. I complained about the wind and hated it from all the headwinds on the lake, and then I get into Missouri and it's just gone, and it's kind of terrible when it is gone. So there are some nice lights on the smokestacks there, so that'll be interesting this evening, hopefully. So I seem to be on a pretty deserted little sandbar here, so seems like a pretty good place to spend a night. So I still need to pull the boat up out of the water some more. I just usually try to unload all the heavy stuff first, that way it's lighter. And I had that burger at like 3, so I'm not terribly hungry, so I might just go ahead and just grab a meal in case I get hungry later, so I can cook it real easily. But at the moment I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, it is starting to cool off a little bit, but it is still pretty humid, so there's a good chance it's going to be quite a while before I can go to bed, just because it's going to take a while to cool off enough. So there's just a certain time in the evening when just all the mosquitoes come out in force, and that time is now. So I'm gonna have to hurry up and get everything in the tent, because I'm slowly being eaten alive. Well, that is a pretty good sized towboat. So it looks like it's pushing 2 barges up river. So I'm glad I'm off the river, because that thing looks massive. Okay, so I'm in the tent and I didn't eat any supper. It's right outside if I feel like it, but I'm not particularly hungry at the moment. So I'm gonna start editing the video. So here's my little setup. I got the Starlink, I got the laptop with the mouse, and I've got all my fans running here and up here, because it's a little musty in here. So apparently this tent was just a little wet when I put it away. I didn't realize that, and yeah, it's not the best smelling in here, so not exactly ideal, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to get this video edited and then get to bed, because I'm pretty tired, and we'll see how far I get. So I think with that, I'm going to say good night. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.